I'm ready to
Okay.
go.
All
I hope you
right.
got some,
We
I
are
hope you got some
live.
questions.
Hi,
Ah!
everyone. Uh, so how you doing today, Scott?
It's been crazy. Everybody's saying that what is it? Mars is in retrograde, which it isn't. But anyway, there's all sorts of crazy things. We have fire alarms going off. So I apologize in advance if a fire alarm goes off, um, because in our building it's broken.
So Mars in retrograde is making the fire alarms go off.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Oh,
That's
okay.
exactly what I
I
understand.
didn't know
I don't
Mars was
know.
the
I
god
don't know.
of fire alarms,
Well,
but
they used to be. We used to call them gremlins.
oh,
You
okay.
know, you used to
Yeah.
get the gremlins all the time. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I remember having gremlin. You know, boat gremlins. They're very specific boat gremlins, and they
Yeah.
usually have to do with 12 volt your 12 volt system, and they always screw you up, like with your battery charger or you know pumps not working and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. Um,
gremlins.
yeah, exactly. So we are here. It's Friday afternoon, and we are talking about our last episode, which is Antibes in the south of France, called "The Whiff of Success." So um, we've gotten a good response to the episode. It's done very well. And I guess we could talk a little bit about Antibes and about the south of France. I mean, I know it's a very uh, popular spot for yachts and boats, um, and it seems like that's kind of the place to be if you want to be around these big yachts in the south of France. So, what were your impressions when you first got to Antibes and to that area?
Well, it's interesting that, as I said in the podcast, I arrived on a Falcon 90, which is a wonderful, wonderful boat, very fast power boat made by Falcon in Italy. And we had a 3-day ride from Rhodes, Greece, all the way up to Antibes. And when we arrived in Antibes, it was pouring cats and dogs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was just pouring. And we were saturated, we were tired, we were saturated. We finally got the boat into the slip and got the moorings all tied off and everything else like that. And I went to sleep. I just got all my, I to take off all my wet clothes, and I went to sleep. And then I woke up, I guess, at about 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I was starved. And the actual crew had left. So I was the only one on the boat. And there were, the chef had cleaned out the refrigerators and all the rest of that kind of stuff. So at 10 o'clock at night, I walked down the dock, and the rain had passed. It was a beautiful, beautiful night, summer night. And I just walked right through the portal that's right near the marina and into the streets of Old Town Antibes. And I started to wander around, people in the cafes. There's a series of cafes on the other side of the wall from the marina that are they've been founded by English and there are some Americans. I don't think there's any Americans, but English and Germans. People speak English, and they sort of accommodate the crews. And there's a couple other restaurants there too. So that was my first thing. I said, "Hey, let's have a drink," and I had a sandwich. Was very happy, and I realized that everybody around me was part of the crew. They were some kind of crew, and it
yeah,
was a nice thing.
yeah, yeah. Um, Oh, one of the things I wanted to ask you, and you talked about this a couple of times in a couple of the episodes, is you talked about Mediterranean mooring. What exactly is that? And what's the difference between in the U.S. versus the Mediterranean?
Oh, yeah, okay. Mediterranean mooring is where you will drop your anchor. and you will back up towards the quay or the quay, okay? And so what you do is you drop your anchor and then you back up, and then you tie off, and then you tighten your anchor chain,
Yeah.
okay? And that holds the boat in a position. So the lines are on the dock, and the anchor is in the mud,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you're all pulled in. Now, in Port Vauban, which is the name of the port in Antibes, there's mooring balls. So what you have to take your hook. Okay, you can take your hook and pick up a ball, or in some cases, if you're in another part of the marina where the big did you lose me?
No.
Oh, okay. In the other part of the marina, what you do is you back the boat up, and then there's a line that is on a ring that is up against the it's on a wall. So you get a hold of that line and you work it through your hands, right? And then you walk all the way down the side of the boat out to the front of the boat. Then you start to bring it in, and it's connected to a mooring at the bottom of the marina.
Yeah.
And then you tie off the bow of your boat. It is very messy because this line is a thick line, and it sits on the bottom in the mud.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's all sorts of little things that you can do that I can get into some interesting detail with. I used to have on the bollard at the bow, we would use the windlass to tighten up the mooring line. Okay, so we'd go on the capstan and we'd put it on and bring it in until it was pretty tight. Then what I did is I had a line, very strong neoprene type line that that was connected to the bollard. I would take that line and I would do a rolling hitch on the mooring line just in front of the capstan. Okay? Then I would undo the mooring line from the capstan and let the weight of the boat and the mooring line be on this smaller line, which was attached to the bollard. And then I would bring it over and I would tie it off the mooring line onto my bollard. That way I wouldn't put so much pressure on my windlass, and the mud and crap that comes off of the bottom, okay, can be easily washed away.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the details of it.
Yeah. That's more than I was asking, but that's good.
Don't be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure all of the sailors who are watching will appreciate that. I also wanted to ask you about Monte Carlo and Monaco. You talked briefly about what it's like going into the harbor there and putting a boat into that harbor. Can you tell us a little more about like what makes it a little bit more different or difficult to put a boat down there?
Well, it's not difficult to get into the harbor at all. It's actually quite fantastic. I mean, when you come in to the harbor, you can see the Jacques Cousteau Museum. You can see, it's a bowl essentially all the way around, and it's with high rises, and it's really kind of a cool place when you're in the middle of the harbor. It's easy to get under normal circumstances. There's pretty much always some room to put your boat.
Yeah.
Mostly larger boats, and it's sort of the larger boats kind of go in the back, near the front street where the main drag is, and then on the side to the starboard side as you're coming in, some of the smaller boats would go, and even if you took a really, really small boat, there is some accommodation and some dockage on the port side as you're going in that oftentimes you see in pictures as kind of like local boats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What I was referring to is putting a boat on the dock for the Grand Prix. of my
Ah, okay.
Formula One. That is a whole different animal,
Yeah.
to say the least, because that's primo ticket. Now, it won't cost you very much to put your big gigantic boat on the quay right behind the pits to watch the Formula One race,
Uh-huh.
right? Where you see them, always the camera, right? Sees all the
Yeah. Yeah,
boats
yeah, of
as you're
course.
going by. People are standing up there and, whatever. Um, it probably won't cost you, for it's on based on size, but let's say it won't cost you more than $1,000, which is no more $1,000 a day, which is no more than any other big boat in any other marina would.
Yeah.
What costs you is the patronage
Mm.
to be able to be on the list to have that space reserved to put your boat.
Ah, okay. So it's the reservation that's like the hard part is, yeah, exactly.
It's coffee. It's coffee money spread very carefully, and not just a one-time coffee. But I mean, it took me about a year and a half to be able to be on the list to get a spot on the boat.
Yeah, I could imagine, especially during the Grand Prix, that it's going to be very competitive.
Well, I was lucky because at the time, the boat I was working for a Finnish family, and of course, Mika Hakkinen was world champion,
Yeah.
uh, and he's Finnish, and for them it was like a family affair. So with Mika's name, we were able to get on the dock, and during the after the race, he came to the boat. He was on the boat with us, and we were actually parked right next to Michael Schumacher's boat.
Wow.
So we had Mika Hakkinen on our boat, Michael Schumacher on his boat. We were this far apart, fender width apart, all jammed in together, and Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen were standing there talking to each other about the race, and everybody else was having drinks and parties and hors d'oeuvres and all the rest of that kind of stuff. It was a very, very cool evening.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. One of the other things that we didn't really touch on too much was grass, about the perfumeries up there.
Oh, I thought you were talking about grass.
Different kind of grass, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, for those who are not familiar, can you kind of explain, what it's like? And because I think you can do like custom scents and things like that, and there's things that
Yes.
aren't not normally available
Yes.
elsewhere if you
Yes.
go there.
Yeah. Grasse is very famous for its perfumes. Now, the location of Grasse is very much a part of the French Riviera. It's actually inland from the Mediterranean and in the mountains. It's essentially above Cannes and Jean Le Pen. It sort of sits up in the mountain behind there. And in fact, when you're in Grasse, you could look out and see the Mediterranean. It's just up. Just a fabulously beautiful place. But they grow a lot of flowers and for the perfumes and stuff. And you can go into, there's a couple of perfume houses up there, and they've been making perfumes there since forever. And it's very elegant. It's a destination worth doing, even if you're not into perfumes or colognes or anything else like that. The science behind it is really quite amazing. There's a very famous French book called Perfume,
Yeah.
which they made into a very bad movie several times, because it's just impossible to capture the. It's very hard to capture smell. We can do sound and we can do light. We can do all of these things. We can speak. We can do all these things. But smell is something that it's very hard to get across and to find a commonality of. And in Grasse, there is this sort of luxurious concept of perfume and smell. And you can go and there's a couple of houses up there that you can go and you could do testers and you can make your own brand of perfume.
Yeah.
And often people when you see famous people come out with their perfume line, They didn't go to Grasse to do it. Grasse sort of came to them, and they sort of picked it out. It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same thing. And then they take all of that, and then they manufacture it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another interesting thing about Grasse, which I found exceptionally interesting, is they have perfume bottle makers there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and there was like one guy, this old guy in a garage, and he makes Chanel #5 perfume bottles.
Yeah, I imagine it's like our artisanal,
Yeah,
little
very artisanal.
perfume bottles.
Right.
Yeah, and if it's not for you, maybe for a girl in your life, your mother, daughter, wife, girlfriend, mistress, whatever.
Put it on your dog.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
good.
And lastly, is there? I know Antibes is kind of a small town, and there's a lot to do there in the south of France. Is there anything you would recommend that when somebody goes to Antibes that they definitely have to see or experience while they're there?
Well, yeah, I would recommend going, of course, to the Picasso Museum because he's one of the most important artists in the 20th century. It's a beautiful building. It's a castle. His artwork is in there, and you'll see stuff there that you would be surprised. It's just sitting it's just gorgeous. There's a lot of people that paint the town. You're forever bumping into somebody with an easel, kind of a commonplace thing. The one thing I might recommend is going to the markets, Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's the big vegetable market, and inside the market, which used to be the old train station for Antibes, because the train used to come in there. So you have the glass portal on top. And, it's all girders, steel girders that have been put together, but they have the market. And they have something every day. Sometimes they have just like, they'll have electronics market in there. It's not very big. It's very quaint. It's small. But the vegetable market and stuff, especially on Saturday, it's big shopping day. But you can get charcuterie, which is sliced meats. You can get all sorts of artisanal cheeses, wines. You could buy, duck and venison, horse. You could buy fish. A lot of it's all packed into one. But there's a couple of restaurants that are on the side that you could go to. And I would recommend sliding into one of the plastic chairs around 8, 9 o'clock at night, ordering yourself a meal, have a glass of wine, and just sit there and just take in the entire atmosphere. Up in the main square, there's other restaurants. Some are a little bit more commercial. Food is generally fairly good in Antibes. It's not like Lyon. Where any restaurant you go to in Lyon you're going to be walking out going, that's got to be a 5-star restaurant. That's got to, it's like, then the next one you go to and you go like, that's got to be 6 stars.
Yeah.
They have a real tradition in Lyon for that, of very fine cuisine. And Antibes tradition is a good thing. One of the main dishes that people come to Antibes to enjoy, especially a lot of Italians, and I'll tell you why, is that fruits de mer is a platter of different seafoods. Okay, all your crustaceans and the moule and clams and everything, and it's a giant plate that you can get. And I love that. It's wonderful. You ship champagne or white wine, and you eat lobsters and oysters and everything, and shrimp and everything all afternoon. And but it's actually illegal in Italy to serve fruit de mer.
Oh, really?
It's a weird law that you can't get it. So a lot of Italians, especially Italians who live like in Menton, which is on the other side, just in the Italian border, in that part of what they call the Italian Riviera at that point. They come over to Antibes, and there's a few famous restaurants right on the Croisette that you could sit and enjoy that. And Antibes has a nice little beach that you can go and relax on. There is an interesting thing about the beach is they have these dogs that are rescue dogs. They're like Saint Bernards, and they've taught them to swim out to rescue people. And they wear this harness, and you could hold, like you could grab a hold of the harness, and the dog will drag you back in.
Oh, interesting.
And they train these dogs out there, and it's so much fun to sit and watch because they're powerful dogs.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I never thought they were like swimmers, but that's something a little odd, and interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the trains all along the French Riviera, so. If you want, I mean, we've done the thing of, you hop on the train with a bottle of wine and just kind of relax, and the Mediterranean's going by in the window. It's amazing. That's great.
We should do a piece where we do the matching of boats to trains and trains to boats.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't realize that, of course, we're going into ports all over the world. And almost every port is a rail hub, especially if they're trading goods or whatever. And even some of the smaller ports, like in Antibes, you could catch the TGV right there, and you could be in Paris in 3-4 hours. And so there's a lot of interesting. I used to travel on the train all the time because it was faster than driving.
Yeah.
So, and it costs nothing to be on the train.
And it's a lot more relaxing than trying to drive.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this week. I hope everybody watching is enjoying the show. Thank you for watching, for listening to the podcast. And, we're hard at work on the next episode, which will be coming on Wednesday morning. Anything else to say, Scott, before we sign off?
No, I think I'm good. I've said enough for today.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you.
I'll see y'all next week. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.